COVID-19 death tally was limited to less than 30 for the second consecutive day yesterday, a welcome relief. This can be taken as an indication that the COVID-19 death curve is finally relenting after nearly 2 months since the second wave began. As smart lockdowns have been implemented in the valley, it is crucial at this point to abide by the rules and health protocols to help fight against COVID-19. Good morning, I'm Sarah Sapsanama, and these are the top stories of the hour. Death curve dwindled in the past 2 days. However, experts say Nepal could fast turn into breeding ground for newer and deadlier variants. The hearings target the role of ceremonial president, calling it controversial and anti-constitutional, while not endorsing the opposition claim on new government. In U.S. convicts police officer Derek Chauvin of murdering African-American man George Floyd sentences to 22 years and 6 months in jail. And Euro Cup round of 16 to begin from today. Some top guns sure to fail to advance further into the tournament. Delta virus that was first detected in India last year has spread to at least 80 countries, including Nepal. The new variant AY1 or Delta Plus, a highly infectious virus, has also spread to some dozen nations since its detection 2.5 months ago.
Experts have pointed out that a country like Nepal, which has failed to guarantee COVID-19 vaccines to larger population, could fast turn into a breeding ground for newer variants. Virus can undergo subtle genetic changes through mutation and recombination. In some cases, the change can pave way to the virus becoming deadlier. The variants are given names Alpha, Beta, Gamma, and Delta. Among these, the Delta variant, first detected in India, is considered the deadliest in terms of severity of case and rapid spread. According to the World Health Organization, this variant has spread to at least 80 nations, while Nepal has reeled under its fatal impact for nearly 2 months. Experts have meanwhile said Nepal failed to inform of a newer variant, that Delta, on time. The country even failed to make use of some equipment that was specially imported to study these variants. The global health community has already speculated that Delta variant will continue to remain the deadliest variant type for some time. A study has revealed that Delta is 60% harmful than Alpha variant. There are mounting fears that the vaccine efficacy might be affected due to the rising new variants. Given this scenario, there is a call on the government to broaden testing parameters, intensify vaccination drive, and urge general public to observe maximum health protocols to stem the spread of coronavirus.
Now, Nepal has reported 27 COVID-19 deaths in the past 24 hours, taking the COVID-19 death tally to 8,945. The death rate now stands at 1.5%. The number of deaths witnessed on Thursday was the lowest since 1st of May, as the country has reeled under the second wave of COVID-19. Meanwhile, the total number of COVID-19 cases has crossed 631,000 and 1,721 more individuals tested positive for the virus yesterday. According to the Health Ministry, 9,586 tests through PCR method were carried out yesterday, while the infection rate in the country now stands at 7.26%. 5,455 individuals registered full recovery, taking the recovery tally to over 576,000, while the recovery rate stands at 91.3%. Based on the Health Ministry's report, currently there are 45,794 active cases, out of which 42,910 are in home isolation, 714 in intensive care units, and 201 on ventilator support. The hearing on behalf of writ petitioners continued for the third consecutive day yesterday. The hearing will resume on Sunday as legal practitioners flay the government move of dissolving the lower house.
The legal practitioners pleading on behalf of the writ petitions filed against the House dissolution on Friday claimed that it was ill-intentional on the part of President Bidyadevi Bhandari to dissolve the House despite a stake on the government by opposition alliance with signatures from majority lawmakers. Senior advocate Srihari Aryal said that the president should have worked as per Section 5 of Article 76 of the Constitution and paved way for the formation of a new government. Advocate Aryal argued that the president didn't have the jurisdiction to test the validity of the claim. Aryal added that the president's decision was simply guided by the vested interest of prolonging Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli's stay in the government. Likewise, Advocate Dinmani Pokhrel said that the Prime Minister didn't have the ethical grounds to stay in the government after declaring that he was not in a position to win the confidence vote. In response, Chief Justice Cholendra Shamsher Rana inquired whether a Prime Minister should go to the President or the Parliament when he is not able to win the confidence vote. Justice Pokhrel replied that the President is not in a position to make speculations regarding vote of confidence. Likewise, Advocate Tikaram Bhattrai said that the clarification submitted by the Office of the President breached the constitutional norms, as it was mentioned that the President's decision did not come under judicial review. Likewise, Senior Justice Mukti Pradhan opined that the lower house cannot be dissolved through the recommendation of a caretaker government, and the release issued by the President at the time of dissolving the lower house was anti-constitutional.
Broker companies have found themselves in a lucrative position with increased share transactions. They have earned over 110 million rupees on a single day based on the transaction amount, however, have not upgraded their service delivery as investors find themselves in the receiving end. On 13th of June earlier this month, the share market witnessed a transaction of 19.55 billion rupees, the highest intraday transaction ever recorded. The NEPSE index on that day climbed by 38 points, while all the investors as well as brokers earned a huge profit. 50 broker companies bagged an amount of 111.6 million rupees as commission for the transactions made on behalf of investors. Every broker company on this day bagged an average of 2.23 million rupees. The broker companies have earned around 8.87 billion rupees within last month, which is 5 times higher than the amount last year. The brokers have been earning a huge amount despite the reduction in commission due to the surge in transactions. The commission charge of about 0.4% to 0.6% levied on investors on the basis of the transaction amount for share transactions were slashed down to 0.27% to 0.4% last December. The broker companies have been blamed of not making the payment on time and mostly remaining out of reach. The need for brokers have reduced due to the introduction of online system for share transactions. The regulatory body, Securities Board and NEPSE also made a considerable profit. NEPSE earned 2.02 billion rupees from 20% of the broker commission, while its revenue increased by 8 times. Meanwhile, all these bodies have not paid attention towards improving services provided by the broker companies. The most effective way of containing the spread of COVID-19 is through immunization. However, the government has been delaying the procurement of vaccines. In this context, in our Public Voice segment, we've asked in Pokhara, why has the government lagged behind in vaccination drive? Let's take a look at what they had to say.
सबै कुरा छाडेर यसैमा उच्च प्राथमिकता दिएर काम गर्नुपर्ने थियो। सरकार चुकेको छ। जनताको जिम्मेवारी वहन नगर्ने गरी सरकार चाहिँ पुरा असफल भएको अनुभव मलाई भएको छ।
यथाशीघ्र जनतालाई खोप दिनुपर्ने सरकारको कर्तव्य हो, तर त्यसमा चाहिँ सरकारले विलम्ब गरिरहेछ। त्यो चाहिँ हामी जनता पनि अनभिज्ञ भयौँ कि किन खोप ल्याउन ढिला गरिरहेछ भनेर।
राष्ट्रपतिको चाहिँ बिना केही चल्दैन, राष्ट्रपतिको हुनुपर्छ भनेर मात्रै कुरा आवाज उठाउनु भएको छ नि प्रधानमन्त्रीज्यूले। त्यो आवाज जनताको लागि किन उठाउनु भएन?
सत्ताको लागि हुने चलखेल लगायतले पनि अलिकति ढिलो भएको हो कि जस्तो लागेको छ।
राष्ट्रपतिले पनि र प्रधानमन्त्री दुवैले चाहिँ नि जनताको स्वास्थ्यमा भन्दा पनि आफ्नै कुर्सी जोगाउने खेलमा बढी खेलेको हुनाले नि यो विलम्ब चाहिँ अहिले नेपालमा देखिएको।
Time now for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion. The question is, what's your take on lackluster service of share brokers despite high income? Your options are A, lack of professionalism, B. Ignoring monitors, and C. Ignorant service seekers. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. Time now for our special segment, Media Watch.
President Bidya Devi Bhandari on Thursday proceeded ahead with the appointment of officials at the Public Service Commission and the Commission for the Investigation of Abuse of Authority, among other constitutional bodies. President Bhandari endorsed the controversial recommendations made by Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli to the constitutional bodies through the Ordinance on Constitutional Council in the absence of the Speaker and the leader of the opposition party. The office bearers were all recommended prior to the dissolution of the House of Representatives, while the appointment came after the customary 45-day deadline period to hold the parliamentary hearing was crossed. The development also erupted due to the Prime Minister's move of dissolving the lower house. The Supreme Court overturned the recent cabinet expansion by Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli after the dissolution of the House of Representatives. A joint bench of Chief Justice Cholendra Samsher Rana and Justice Prakash Kumar Dhungana issued an interim order on Tuesday to scrap the appointment of 20 ministers, terming the cabinet expansion as unconstitutional. Now the cabinet of caretaker Prime Minister Oli has only 4 ministers: Vishnu Paudel, Krishna Gopal Shrestha, Basanta Nemwang and Leelanath Shrestha, as they were appointed before the lower house was dissolved on 22nd of May. A writ petition was filed at the Apex Court challenging Prime Minister Oli's move of expanding his cabinet on 4th and 10th of this month, arguing that a caretaker government does not have legal and constitutional rights to expand the cabinet following the dissolution of the lower house and the announcement of midterm elections. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Oli on Thursday handed 20 ministerial portfolios to the remaining 4 ministers in his cabinet. Prime Minister Oli has kept the Ministry of Defense and Ministry of Foreign Affairs to himself. The Commission for the Investigation of Abuse of Authority filed a corruption case at the Special Court on Wednesday against 3 individuals, including former Director General of Inland Revenue Department Chudamani Sharma, for allegedly embezzling 1.33 billion rupees. The anti-corruption watchdog accused the then chairman of Tax Settlement Commission, formed back in 2014, Lumbadhoz Mahat, member Umesh Dhakal, and member secretary Chudamani Sharma for causing damage to the state by their alleged nexus with revenue-evading businessmen during their tenure. Earlier, the CIAA had filed 2 cases against Sharma on 2 accounts, with both the cases still under consideration at the court. This is Abhyuday Shrestha for Media Watch and Kantipur News Desk.
That's all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Have a great day ahead.